All right, let us get into this. So
Wait, I have a pop star story for
Well-
you that you're gonna have to include on the show. Okay.
should I even
So-
bother introing you? I mean, my God, you're
Probably.
Hi, my name is Lorien Mckenna, and I love to hear the sound of my voice, and so will you. Here we go.
Well, so
Welcome to Gatriarchs.
So, you know how last week I was talking about every fucking day is another day of celebration at the daycare?
Endless.
Do you know what yesterday was?
Oh, God, what?
National Pancake Day, Gavin. Did you not know this?
Oh, God.
So inevitably, there's just pancakes and syrup and whipped cream and cookies and all the fucking bullshit. That on top of the fact that this weekend we had a 4-year-old's birthday to go to at one of the play places that we talked about before. And two things of note happened that I thought were really hilarious. One is the cake was a blue velvet cake. Have you ever heard of blue velvet?
I need to disentangle something real quick. Whose idea was it to bring Pancake Day into a preschool? Was it the teacher or some oppressive parent with nothing better on their time than to screw up everybody else's day by filling their children full of high fructose corn syrup?
No, it's a school thing. Like it was on the calendar. Like national.
Bullshit.
There's also National Donut Day and national. Anyway, so we went to this birthday at this place, and they had this blue velvet, which is basically red velvet, which is basically chocolate cake with food coloring in it.
Totally.
But what was hilarious is that we all had this like electric blue cake, and the next day I hear laughing and screaming from the other room, and I go in there, and Emmett had taken a green shit. And he was so excited. And he was like, I pooped like the Hulk. I pooped like the Hulk. He was so excited. But anyway.
That's awesome.
Something I learned, and maybe you know this and I don't, and it's so smart, and I wish I had thought about it. I'm getting these...
I probably know it already.
Yeah, because you're very smart. I'm getting a lot of these invitations for these 3- and 4-year-old birthday parties, as we do. And a lot of them are like, come to Gavin and David's party, and it's two unrelated kids having a co-birthday. And my thoughts had always been, well, I guess these two kids' moms are super close, right?
Right.
Well, then I went to this birthday this weekend, and I was like, this place is kind of cute. I wonder how much it costs. Well, it's $2,000 to $3,000 for a 3-hour time frame. And that's when I realized these parents are just dividing that bill in half. And I went, oh my God, fucking level unlocked for sure for the next birthday. We are co-birthday because it's the same kids. These kids don't have friends. They just have classmates that are their friends. So why not? You're going to invite the same people. So why don't we just split the cost down in half? So I think that's genius. And that is for sure the double birthday is the way to go.
I think that's an excellent dad hack, I might add, talking about from later in the episode. But that is, I agree with that. That's leveling up, and why not? Because it's good. It's all of the parties are just the same amount of cake, the same amount of sugar rush, the same amount of tears. It frankly doesn't matter where you're doing it. You're just impressing the other parents. And also, though, in a place like that, was there booze involved for the parents?
No, it was just a regular kids' place with like pizza and cake.
Well, then the kids don't know any different. Just have it in somebody's kitchen and let the parents drink, because really that's the social hour, isn't it? I mean, come on.
For sure.
Well, so I was reading something recently in the news that there is a new dad caucus in Congress. I don't know if you're aware.
Please pronounce that word correctly. Is it dad cock?
It is definitely. You know what? You can pronounce it however you can wrap your mouth around it.
I think you know how I'm going to pronounce it.
It's the Dad Caucus in Congress. And this is because a bunch of new young dads, or rather new dads with young kids, became part of Congress since the race in 2022. So this newly elected congressman was filmed casting his vote for the new Speaker of the House with his baby Bjorn, standing next to AOC. And, you know, he's very proudly, like, wiggling the feet of his kid. And he's like, look at me, I'm a dad in Congress. And I just imagine, first of all of the other dads in Congress, who most of them are dads, are probably like, okay, fire down there, cowboy. Not to mention all of the women in the room who must be, like, Take several seats, motherfucker. Just because you bring your kid in here doesn't mean you get extra credit for being part of the new dad caucus. But there's so many elements. Yes.
To be fair, most of the people who are dads in Congress, their kids are in their 40s at this point. So, come on.
Yeah. And this article, though, there's so many things to unpack here because, yes, I think it's great. Let's celebrate parents who are leaders, who have taken on this double role. It's awesome. Also, I mean, dads are hot, and so dads in power in Congress are hot, right?
Automatic 2 points if you're a dad. You get 2 more points, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then also, the journalist really went into the fact that it's such an incredible double standard, but that he gets like shouted at in a positive way when he's like walking his kid down the street in a stroller, but his wife doesn't, which is, of course, as we know, inherent misogynistic bullshit. But then also my favorite part of the article was where they showed that the counter side, and let's face it, there's only one party that's in the dad caucus that makes up, the 6 guys who are part of the new dad caucus, and it's no Republicans, and showed the counterpoint that like Senator Josh Hawley, the douchebag of all douchebaggery from Missouri, is like writing books about manhood, how America will be lost without masculinity. And you just think, oh, these poor insecure men who are part of their own dad caucus, a much smaller caucus. Yep. Much smaller caucus,
much
clearly.
Smaller,
much smaller caucus.
Smaller. Yeah.
And it's I don't know, it's all sorts of elements. I'm both for it and against it. One, we shouldn't be celebrated for just doing our duty as parents. And then at the same time, it's cool that he showed off his baby in Congress. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, listen, being a hypocrite is kind of the foundation of Gatriarchs, which brings us to our next topic, which I love it. And I want to talk about how judgmental you were about parents and parenting before you had kids, but then how or if that changed when you did have kids. So for me, I assumed that when I was a dad, I would immediately lose all of my parental judgment. I would be you know what? Now I get it. It's hard. Everyone has their own path or whatever. And what I found was 50% of me did that. 50% of me immediately have compassion, right? I'm like, you know what? I have compassion for these people. It's really hard. But then I found a new 50% of me, which I didn't expect, which was I got even more judgmental.
More judgmental.
Because now I had boots on the ground experience. And now I knew what was bullshit and what was just being an asshole and what was real. So like the whole like tired parent thing and, never, taking care of yourself. I'm like, that part I became very compassionate about. I'm like, parents on their screens, giving their kids screens. I was like, you know what? I'm compassionate about that. I understand that. But I don't want to sleep train my kid part of it, I became more judgmental about.
Yeah.
Because now I had been in the fucking foxhole. I'm curious if that was your experience too, where like after you became a parent, you still maintained some of your fucking judgmental bullshit that you carried over when you weren't a parent.
Excuse me, my judgmentalness is not bullshit. It's legit. I mean, come on. I was absolutely judgmental going into it. And that goes in the vein of like, these are the things that I'm never going to do when I'm a parent and whatnot. Of course, we can all relate to that. But I completely embrace that because I feel like I put a lot of work into doing the okayest job I possibly can as a dad. And those who aren't even like putting in that effort, my judgmentalness is probably more vicious now than ever before.
But that's the only way the human race continues, is that people who aren't parents think they can do it better. So we all are like, watch me. And then we do it and we're like, oh, fuck. There are some things that are just harder to do. But it's just funny how I assumed that once I become a parent, I would have this huge revelation about you can never be judgmental and everybody's leading their own path, which is true, but also not true.
So much of it does come down to putting in the effort too, because we're all on this massive journey that is so much work and so much more work than we all could have expected. And there's a difference, though, between choosing your battles, which sometimes you just choose your battles and you think, I'm not going to do this. And then also just can't be bothered. And because it's inconvenient for you, there's a fair amount. I mean, let's face it, as a parent in New York City, I saw an awful lot of people who just can't be bothered. So then they inherently, or by default, inconvenience all of the lives around them because they can't be bothered to do X, Y, and Z, which just, it's the hard work you put in now. You put in the hard work now so everything's easier down the line. That's for parenting, and that's lessons for your kids as well. And we all are the best parents until we become one, and then we realize that we're just trying to do the okayest job we possibly can.
We're the okayest parents.
Okay AF. Ooh, I like that. Just okay AF.
We'll have merch at some point, and maybe we can have a shirt that says okay AF.
Man, just putting in that little extra effort will pay off in the long run, I think. So this weekend, I was very fortunate to do some skiing with my kid. And having grown up in Colorado, that is sometimes a favorite pastime and sometimes like, why am I doing this? But anyway, we met up with one of his friends who happened to be up there. And my kid peeled off with his friend and his friend's mom. And I was like, okay, buddy, I'll see you later. And he goes, okay, love you, Dad. And he skied away. And I thought, oh, I am so lucky that he just reflexively, I don't think he actually is thinking, I love you, Dad. But he does say it every single time he leaves me. And I know it won't last forever, but it's really sweet. And I don't hear other kids doing that. And in fact, one time we were at a soccer game where he ran away from me saying, okay, love you, Dad, bye. And two boys next to him looked at each other and giggled. And I thought, oh, I'm so glad that he didn't see that. And I don't know that he would care. But my whole topic in bringing this up is I'm curious how other people say I love you. And I mean literally those words, I love you. I don't mean buying flowers or hand jobs or blowjobs or anything.
That's how I say I love you.
Well, as you should. It's a communication form of love.
Yeah. It's a mouth hug.
Switching gears here. My mom and I were love you, not I love you. We just said love you. And I heard a friend of mine years ago say, I overheard a bunch of conversations while we were doing a theater gig together. And he was on the phone with his grandparents who lived actually nearby the gig that we were doing. And he said, okay, bye. I love you, Grandpa. And I remember asking him saying, wow, it strikes me that you say, I love you. And he said, I realized they weren't going to be around for much longer. And I kind of wanted to just be more mature about expressing it. And that really stuck with me. But I think there's a big difference between saying love you and I love you. And I always try to say I love you to my kids. And it's, I don't know. Have you ever thought about that?
I have, and I thought about it slightly differently. I say I love you to my kids, and it's usually a more intimate thing. Like I'll be like whispering there, like I love you before bed, that kind of stuff. But I've thought about it in the way that my relationship with straight men, and what I mean straight men, like best friends, like some of my
Sure.
best friends. And you obviously say you love. I feel like our generation and younger broke through the mold of like you're allowed to say I love you to your friends. It doesn't mean I want to have sex with you.
Right.
But I remember thinking when I would say I love you or whatever to my straight male friends that I felt very differently, and I got nervous if I would say I love you, and it would feel more intense than if I just said love you, buddy. Right?
Love you.
Like,
and you have to have an article at the end of that. Love you,
correct.
man. Love you,
Otherwise,
brother.
you're sucking dick immediately. And I think there's this weird pressure on straight men to like love you, dude, love you, bro, is an acceptable way. But if you say I love you, that's too intimate, and you're definitely going to the gay bars. But
Totally.
But I find myself trying to fight my weirdness around that to my straight friends because I want to get over, because I think that's stupid. So, but I remember thinking like even recently, some of my best male friends, when I say like I love you, it feels so intense. But I think I'm a very kind of loving like person, so it doesn't sound as crazy to me. But it does feel that I love you feels so much more intense to somebody that's not your romantic partner. But for my kids, it's very much like I love you. But the whole like love you, bro, love you, bud kind of thing is hilarious.
Totally.
But it means the same thing. I'm just trying to break through some of those like weird kind of cobwebs that exist from generations before us. All right, so this week's top 3 is my list, and this week it is top 3 dad hacks. And when I say dad hacks, I mean small little things that just make a dad's life easier. Not like raise them with kindness, real small things. And I think these are the things that any parent really fucking latches onto. All right, so I'll go first. So in number 3 for me, I laugh because it sounds crazy until I explain it. Beans. What do you mean by beans? I have 2 under 4. So I am constantly making snacks and lunches and stuff. And one of the things I found from a baby all the way till now, 3.5, that my kids love is any kind of bean. Literally, can of kidney beans, pour it out, drop a couple on a plate, and they are super in love. They're like these little mashed potato balls, and they have saved me so many times when it comes to like, I don't know what the fuck to put in my kids' lunch today. So literally any kind of bean on the shelf, I literally will buy 6 to 10 cans at a time, and then just that is one of the things they eat, and it has saved me so many times.
That's great.
And number 2, in second place, packing tape over speakers on toys. So every fucking toy in my house, every fucking toy in my house is too loud. Even in the ones that have 2 settings, like medium and loud, are too fucking loud.
So they're too loud and too fucking loud. Yes.
Too fucking loud. And I was saying last week how like they all have a goodbye message. Bye-bye. So put a piece of clear packing tape over the speaker. It cuts the volume in half. It's fucking fantastic. And in first place, my number 1 dad hack, same socks. Every kid has the same socks. There's not the red socks and the blue socks and the Spider-Man socks and the this socks. You buy one brand and one color of sock, and then matching and finding the socks, never a fucking issue. So right now, my son has black socks, my daughter has white socks, and I never have to question what goes with what. It makes laundry a fucking breeze, and there's never an issue. And I know that sounds, maybe some of the dads or the guys listening to the podcast right now who are not dads are thinking, that's the stupidest thing in the world, just match socks. It could save your fucking life. So number 1, buy the same sock.
We could all write a book about matching socks, that's for sure. Although I would say I live in a less binary world than you do, and I don't live in black and white. And luckily, both of my kids don't care about wearing mismatched socks. So we put 50% effort into matching their socks, and actually, thank goodness they're fine with it, which I think is really fun.
Your house sounds like chaos.
I'm okay with it. Number 3 for me is something that I've talked about before, and it's a little on the sentimental side. Get over it. I'm going to talk about it all the time, which is playing sports with my kids gets them to talk with me. Having a tween now who doesn't say a word to me except in single monosyllabic utterances, when we start kicking a soccer ball, if I can convince her, sometimes pay her to kick a soccer ball with me, which neither of us is particularly good, she does chatter, and it makes all of my life better. So sorry about the sentimentality, but you know.
It's probably hard to take soccer lessons from you when you call kicking a soccer ball a bat ma. So that's probably why.
Kick your face, bitch. Kick your face. Cooter slam, center stage. This is one that I got from somebody else, so thank you very much, Eric. When you fold clothes, you should lay them, t-shirts, shorts, pants, on their side so they're up. It's kind of a Marie Kondo thing. So that's like a file system. So that and you have a conveyor belt so the older stuff that hasn't been worn slowly moves to the front and you put the newly folded clothes in the back. Maybe that's something everybody knows and everybody does, but I didn't know about it until I had kids, and it is a game changer. Now, the drawers are still, frankly, a complete mess, but I love the conveyor belt system that stuff hasn't been worn gets pushed to the front.
Because what happens is, inevitably, it's the same 4 T-shirts they wear because you wash them and they come right back to the top of the pile.
Yeah. 100%. And then finally, my kids are great salad eaters. And the only reason somehow we got them to do this is that one of my favorite kinds of salad is a kale salad with toasted hazelnuts and red onions and olive oil and Parmesan cheese. I'll put it, when we have show notes, I'll put my spectacular recipe, stolen from City Bakery, also, on our website when we have that. But my kids always wanted the hazelnuts out of the salad. They just wanted the hazelnuts. I don't know, probably before they were supposed to be eating nuts, but hey, they don't have allergies. But I shouldn't make light of that, but I don't know, put 2 and 2 together. Anyway, they wanted to eat all my hazelnuts out of my salad. And I was like, you got to have a bite of the greens before you get to the hazelnut. And pretty soon we were able to combine the hazelnut and the salad. And I don't think it matters if you put marshmallows or little bits of mochi ice cream in a salad, but if you can get your kids to eat greens without putting up a fight, I know that's a big one. So that's my humble brag, frankly, too.
That's your number 1 dad hack.
Hide goodies in salad and make them go bite for bite.
So maybe you're going to start an M&M salad trend.
That sounds fantastic.
That sounds sexy, honestly, because as we know, M&M candies are to be desired sexually, according to Fox News.
So, coming up next time, this is the top 3 things I want to hear from you, David, and anybody else who wants to reach out, which is, what are the three things you now do that make you say, oh my God, I sound like my parents. Oh my God, I sound like my mom. Oh my God.
Top 3 things that make us sound like our parents. Wow. Okay. Yeah. That sounds amazing. Okay. So our next guest is the real deal if we are talking about piles of garbage. She is one of my best friends for far too long. She's a writer, a producer, a playwright, a showrunner, a mom, a wife, but mostly she's a garbage barge. She worked at Pixar for 8 years on movies like Brave, Ratatouille, Up, The Good Dinosaur, Inside Out. She sold shows to various networks, and she's helped to create and run Tab Time on YouTube. She is also the co-host of the Screenwriting Life podcast. But today is really her big break. Lorien, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for that introduction. As a true representative of the garbage barge community, I need to point out what a garbage barge you are, in that I was actually at Pixar for 9.5 years, which is technically
your bio that I
10 years.
Your bio that I barely Googled said 8 years.
Well, that's wrong. It's 9.5 years.
IMDb.
Yeah.
IMDb. Get on it.
Do your research next time. I don't even know if I can continue to do this show. I mean,
listen, you are a real pro podcaster, and that I got that wrong. But I noticed that you're not pushing back on the garbage part of this, that you're fully okay with all of that.
Oh, I mean, I have an identity to protect here, so I mean.
that is true. And honestly, Lorien is our first heterosexual guest, which is
that's right.
Big news. Episode 5, we finally broke. We're breaking down walls for you people. I think heterosexuals far too long have not had it.
Total inclusivity with a 100%.
It's about time you guys had a straight person on the show. I mean,
honestly, it's about time. But to be fair, Lorien was raised by 2 moms.
I was.
And that's why she's here.
Yes.
So let's, beyond all the hilarity and all the fun that we're going to have today, you were raised by 2 moms. Tell us more about that, because that was not necessarily it's not a simple story, but also this happened in the 70s, when this was not even a common thing. Right now, if somebody's raised by 2 moms, it's like, yeah, whatever. But now, you were raised in a very small town in the 70s by 2 moms. What was that like?
So, my mom and my dad were married. The whole traditional, City Hall, San Francisco, getting permission. So my dad didn't have parental permission to marry my mom because she was Jewish. So they had to wait until he was 21. So that's like where it all started. And
then she became not Jewish? What happened at 21?
He was 21, so he didn't need parental consent anymore to marry someone.
Got it.
I don't, whatever. This is the story. It's probably all lies that I was told.
I mean, who knows?
As a child. So I was born, my sister was born 3.5 years later. Then we moved to this very small, cozy little town that's kind of like if Stephen King and Buffy the Vampire Slayer had a baby, it'd be this town. It's called Ukiah, California, and there was about 15,000 people there. So then when I was about 5 or 6, my dad left. He fucked off and got together with some 19-year-old cashier at the Round Table Pizza where he worked. Very glamorous love story. And then my mom started dating women, one of which I remember really well. Her name was Sandy. And she was a wood shop teacher, and she only had 3 fingers on one hand. So I have this distinct memory of me on my living room floor playing with Lincoln Logs, and Sandy came over, and like she reached out to me, and all I saw was like a nubby fingers coming at me. And no disrespect to people who are differently abled and have different caveat, but when you're 6 years old, innocently playing with Lincoln Logs, and you meet your mom's lover,
and a 3-fingered lesbian attacks you.
Yes, and she had like short curly red hair, overalls, like the whole cliche, right? I lived
shop teacher, total shop teacher.
Yes, she was a shop teacher, and she had missing fingers. So I don't remember many other.
So she wasn't a great shop teacher.
Obviously, there were some issues. Anyway, I had a blanket I slept under for very, very, very many. Also, I'm a writer, so I know how to use words right. So I had this blanket I used on my bed that I loved until one day when I was a teenager, my mom reminded me that Sandy made it for me. And I had to never look at it again because I was re-traumatized.
You just kept seeing those fingers weaving in and out.
But then at some point, my mom got together with Elaine. I think I must have been 8 or 9. And so this was like the late 70s. And so she moved in with us because, lesbians.
Insert joke here.
Yeah.
Because lesbians.
Yeah. And then, but my mom was they were also hippies. And so that was a whole other part of it. We lived on this street called Church Street, and they all called themselves the Church Street Irregulars. And it was a lot of pot and drugs. And
was it a lot of communal living?
No, it wasn't communal living, but there were communal. Cow Mountain had a big commune. I went to a hippie school called Mariposa School. It was like hippie, lesbian, counterculture. Everyone grew pot. It was not a safe childhood. I wouldn't describe it.
But here you are. I mean, it's the right. David and I have talked about, my favorite tweet I ever saw is that parenting looks so hard because you have to traumatize your kids just enough for them to end up funny. And I mean, it looks like you're the result of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, sure. My sister isn't that funny, and she was just as traumatized. So I don't know if your theory holds. Wait. Maybe it's just the firstborn.
Did your mom have to come out to you, or did she just suddenly live with women, and you were like, okay, now mommy likes girls?
I have no memory of it. I just remember Sandy. I just remember the Sandy incident.
And Lincoln Logs.
I don't remember it being that interesting. I wasn't sad when my dad left. Like, they fought all the time. I was like, yeah, he's got to go. Also, when you're a kid of trauma and you also have undiagnosed ADD and you might be going through menopause, memories aren't like super available to me. Okay. So I don't know.
But also, I feel like that culture of like our parents talking about things and getting ahead of emotions was not on their radar. It was not like, you know what, we're gonna there's a big change in mommy's life and we're gonna talk about it. It's like none of that happened.
No.
It was like no.
And Elaine lived with us, and they were together until I was in my early 20s, and I told no one. It was a huge, very dangerous, scary secret. Elaine worked for the school district.
Oh, wow.
So if anyone found out, she would be fired. And, so it was like she was our roommate. I know my friends must have figured it out, but I never talked about it, ever.
Well, people forget that those laws are still on the books in 28 states, that you can still be fired for being gay or being thought of as gay. Yeah. And so obviously it was a little more imperative then to keep the secret, but
I mean, the good news is I'm pitching a TV show right now, and that is the core story about it. It's what I start the pitch with, which is my moms were gay, and it was a huge secret, and so that's why I can write this show about having a secret and living in shame. Ta-da! So, I mean, I will use it. It was hard. We were poor. So it wasn't like being raised by gay parents was some gift. Mm-hmm. It was still, I would love to say that, all you gays, you're so great. But, my moms were regular people with their own shit.
Totally.
And,
well, it's the ultimate equality is that gays can be nightmares, too. Yeah. We can have our own shitty... yeah, exactly. But so I'm curious, how much of your parents' lives or how much of being raised by two women makes its way into your work? Now, I know you and very personally, and I've read and known most about your work, but I'm curious as to people who are listening, does having two moms make its way into your work often? Or is it more about the town you grew up in and the hippie commune style?
I think there's a big theme of shame that runs through my life and through my work because it's battling that. I had this fear that one day I would wake up gay because that was how I experienced it, I guess. To answer your earlier question, it just happened for me. So, and when I first started dating my husband, I remember it was a big deal. I had to come out to him that my moms were gay. He gave no shits, none. He was like, okay, so he's like, I knew I met her, the end, full stop. But I also was really worried on the night before my wedding that I would wake up and not want to marry him. I had friends who'd I'd woken up that morning and I didn't want to marry him and I did it anyway. So I hadn't written my vows yet. But also there was a piece of me that was also, I was 29. I'd had lots of sex. I had never experimented with women. I had never wanted to experiment with women. That wasn't a part. Perhaps I should have. I don't know. But I was so anxious and intense and sexually repressed, which David makes fun of me all the time because I'm always like, ew, sex, gross, because that was such a huge part of shame for me. Also, my mom made me see Purple Rain with her when I was 15. So, like, if you've seen Purple Rain, your older audience is very uncomfortable realizing what that means.
I don't even know what you're referencing. I'm so young.
Why does parenting suck?
So, for example, this morning I was on a walk with my daughter, walking my dog, and she said, "Why isn't any laundry getting done?"
Whoa.
She's 11. And I'm like, sweetheart, you know how to do your laundry. You can do your laundry. Also, let's talk about passive aggression, right? Like, because, she'll just do the like, I'm hungry. I'm like, that's passive aggressive. Can I have something to eat, or would you make me something to eat? Is how you actually are supposed to ask for that stuff. Parenting, well, number one, pregnancy is terrible. Birth is disgusting. The wreckage done to my body is really foul. Earlier, I was telling you guys that if I cough, I'm probably going to fart and pee a little. So that's why I keep muting myself.
Yes.
That's why I keep muting myself, because I'm coughing. I'm also peeing a little. I just want you to know, every time I go on mute, everyone's listening.
Everything below your waist right now is pure chaos and a nightmare. So that's why the camera is where it's
I have
at.
just a little kiddie pool. I'm sitting in a little kiddie pool with like baby wipes right next to me. Parenting is really hard. I think for me, the expectations of being a mom, because I did not have brilliant motherhood, I will say. Just so you know, my mom will find this podcast and she will listen to it.
Yeah.
Like, somehow she will. So, like, hi, Mom.
Hi.
I was very worried about becoming a parent. I waited a very long time. I didn't have my daughter till I was 41.
Good for you.
And yeah, sure, that was easy. It's called a geriatric pregnancy.
Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, old lady style.
Oh, it's the terminology. But hey,
Yeah.
you've got a beautiful passive-aggressive daughter now.
I know.
And she's going to give you a low rating on Yelp, clearly, because the housekeeping is not up to snuff. I mean, the dining room is never open when she needs it to be.
Never. No. Yeah, no. I was really surprised that she phrased it that way, and I realized just how accommodating my husband is, like how regularly he does the laundry, how he like he just keeps up on some things, and I guess, he just hasn't. And because my husband does the laundry. I don't laundry. I did it today just to avoid,
Passive
some
aggression
lecture from my child when she gets home from school. I think parenting is hard, especially as a writer, because I'm home. So she's just always here. The pandemic was miserable. My husband and my daughter and I were just always home all the time.
No break.
No break.
No breaks.
And my daughter was, I talk about this all the time, it's so boring, but my daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes about a year ago, and which is, whatever, we're managing it. It's a hellscape, but we're managing it. And then she had an ultrasound done recently on her thyroid, because she's got some thyroid issues. So she probably has something called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease that often walks along with type 1. But she's also got some other really scary stuff going on that I can't talk about without crying. But it's like, why did I invite this person into my life that would bring me like opportunity? I had to cancel a pitch yesterday. I was so messy about it. Like, why? What is the payoff? Where's the part where you're like, it's worth it?
There's never a moment in parenting. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. There's never a moment in parenting when you go, okay, we got here. Now we can just sit back and cuddle and watch TV together and everything's happy. There's always a new level of bullshit. And every time you satisfy one level of bullshit, you just upgrade to the next level of bullshit.
What level of her passive aggression did she get from you? I mean, or are you just direct? And that was not a slight. That was oh God, is this a realization that this is the way I've been speaking to her? Because my passive aggression, my own, comes back to me constantly through my 11-year-old daughter.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I'm passive aggressive, but what I do notice is that she will talk to my husband in the same tone of voice that I talk to him in. And when she does it, I'm like, Quincy, do not talk to your father that way. That is disrespect.
Oh. Children are ugly mirrors. They are just ugly mirrors. And sometimes, yeah.
So I just realized, like, everything I'm doing, she copies. It's, it's horrible.
But does it give you good content for your writing?
Yes. I mean, the other piece of this project I'm pitching about gay moms, the end of it is about her diabetes, right? Shame. So it's like right there, the bookends. I got it.
Nice.
Right? My kid and my parenting. Sometimes, my husband is ill, so I use his stuff too. I mean, being a writer, you use it all. Otherwise, what's the point?
Do you notice a difference in the world that your daughter's being raised in, where kind of if you decided to just be gay, if you wake up gay, which is a real possibility, Lorien, I hope you understand that. Where it would be very different for her than it was for you. Like, is the world that she's growing up where gay and bi and trans is just another part of full human beings?
It's totally uninteresting to her.
Yeah.
We've always talked to her about if you like a boy or a girl, and she'll say, or they. I'm like, yes, Quincy, or they. I've talked to her a lot about, gender and pronouns. For a while, at the time, my sister's youngest came out as non-binary, so they were they, has recently decided to be he again. And that was, for her, it was like, all right, I don't care. She defaults to they if she doesn't know. And, because the default is he. Like, you see a picture of a giraffe, that's a he. She'll say they. She corrects me all the time. It's delightful. But
That's fantastic.
She does not care. Her babysitter over the pandemic, on Zoom, was a trans woman, and she had no idea, wasn't curious, wasn't interested. Later, I talked about my friend who had a trans daughter, and she's like, who? And I told her, and she was like, what? Like, she just doesn't.
It's so amazing
care.
Because it doesn't. You know why? Because for your daughter, it doesn't feel like change or something like that. Like your nephew going from they to he pronouns doesn't feel like a personal attack to her. She's like, okay, it's just and I feel like people our age and maybe even older feel like all of anything that is a change is a personal attack to how they feel or how they were raised. And it's so kind of refreshing to see kids kind of be like, yeah, no big deal. And it's like, oh man, to have grown up in that world where like, if you're gay or you're bi or you're trans, like, okay, anyway, let's go get milkshakes.
Yeah. I remember It was a lot of, for me, how I grew up too, right? I remember when I finally did start talking about it, the first question I would get asked, which is, well, which one's the man? Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, they're both women. For me, that's the problem, right? Like, that's the core of my trauma. Like, if one was a man, I wouldn't have this secret shame of having to come out to you as having gay moms, Of course, I don't think it's a problem, whatever. They can do whatever they want. One of my moms now is married to a man and has a whole set of other stepkids. And, like, I don't know. I don't care. People can do whatever they want.
It's one of our favorite questions. We talked about it a couple episodes ago where when people will be like, well, which one of you is the woman? And it's like that's kind of the core part of being gay. It's kind of a foundational aspect of homosexuality is that there's no man or there's no woman. I like to ask straight people, which one of you is the man and which one of you is the other man?
Well, I think the gender roles thing is really toxic, right? Like how I've just, I was raised by women in a big, strong lesbian community. I speak my mind. I'm not shy. I have big, loud opinions that piss people off. But I've fallen into all the stereotypical gender roles of being the one who cares about the house cleaning, being the one who's like, just all the stuff. Because my husband and I never really talked about it or negotiated it. And when I started working from home, I stopped doing the dish. I just stopped doing the dishes, so someone had to do them, so he did them. I didn't even come up to him and say, that's my level of passive aggression. I just stopped. He does the trash. He does, some of this stuff I wasn't enculturated or even taught to do, which is no excuse.
But we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, and the reason I think is that there is a default that you can always fall back. There are existing lanes that you don't have to choose, but for straight people, there is a default setting that if you guys don't say anything, sometimes you fall back into, which is that patriarchal, like women do the laundry and men make the money, and the and we had a conversation earlier about with gay people, those settings don't exist, those defaults don't exist, so we have to verbalize everything. We have to say who's doing the dishes, who's picking up the kids, and naturally who is the more caretaker one, who is the whatever. But that is a trap that we luckily don't often fall into as gay people.
Yeah, and when before Quincy was born, I had this very clear, like, her room is going to be purple and yellow. I'm not going to do pink. I told everyone, don't buy me pink clothes. I said, we're not going to do Disney princesses, the whole thing. Somewhere, though, my kid saw a Disney princess dress and for years was obsessed. There was nothing I could do about it, and I was so dismayed. So, like, why don't you like trucks? And she didn't care. She did not want a truck. She didn't want those stupid wooden toys. She was like, I want plastic, princess, dresses, bobbleheads, Disney, the whole thing. And I did not lead her there. I had no interest in that stuff. And yet, we have a box in the attic full of, like, every princess dress ever made.
You still have them.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with them. What do you do with them? But
all those tiaras and kitten heels?
Oh, yeah. She's into blue and green and dinosaurs and, she still likes to dress up, but she's very much shifted now into, she's going to be a director and a paleontologist, just so you guys know.
I'm aware.
She's got a plan. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
so you have a daughter, Gavin?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, she's 11, same age?
Exactly the same age. And we were going to be anti-Disney, of course. And then the gateway drug, even though it preceded her even birth, I think, but the gateway drug was Frozen, and she discovered Frozen. And then we went through years of all of it. And then at some point I was like, fine, let's do it. We did it. And then she moved on, she moved on to the next thing. I think, unfortunately, the next thing back then was Shimmer and Shine. Do you remember Shimmer and Shine?
Oh, deeply into Shimmer and Shine. Oh,
for
those
like
little
6
genies.
months.
Ugh.
Yes.
Yeah, and then there was a pet shop show and like all this stuff. Like, it was great research for me because I do like preschool animation. So I was like, yeah, let's talk about it. I have a question for you guys. So for me, being judged as a mom, the mom judge is incredibly, like, it's very there all the time, things that I do. So when Quincy was little, the Frozen, she wanted to wear her Frozen nightgown to preschool. She did it every day for 3 weeks. I did not give a fuck.
Good.
I think there was some pushback from one of the teachers because one of the other kids I was like, no, you fuckers can come to my house and get my kid fucking dressed. This is what she's wearing. It was like 2 or 3 weeks every day. And it was like this gross satin thing that, like, you're not supposed to leave your kids in because it bursts into flames at the right temperature. She slept in it. She wore it. We washed it. She slept in it with but that was hard to get to that point of I don't care. And now with her diabetes, it's all about counting carbs. You have to know how many carbs a food is in order to tell her insulin pump how much insulin to give her. So we are ruled by conversations about carbs, not because carbs are bad. It's just information so we can make sure she doesn't have a seizure and die or whatever, just casual stuff. But we're in the grocery store shopping. We're always talking about, which is the soda without carbs and how many carbs. And I can feel, even if no one's around us, I can feel the judgment because if I walked by a woman talking to her preteen daughter about carbs, I would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I can't believe you're doing this to your kid in the diet culture. But how is that? There's a very specific mom shame, right? Because we're supposed to be the ones who are teaching them about diet and bodies and, being the person, especially for girls. As gay parents of daughters, what is that like? Is there a parenting shame component that you deal with?
Literally before you joined, we were talking about before you had kids and how you would judge parents and parenting. And then after you had kids, how you would judge parents and parenting. And did anything change? And our consensus was like, some of the stuff you were like, you know what, give them a break. But a lot of the judgments you had on other parents, you maintain because you were like, no, I'm doing this. But I don't know about you, Gavin, but for me, mine is always gay focused because that's been the kind of biggest, not trauma in my life, but it's very, very much informed who I was. Is there's this weird chip on my shoulder as a gay parent that when I walk into the daycare or walk whatever, I am aware that everyone is aware that I am a gay parent.
Maybe you should stop wearing that shirt. I'm a gay parent.
Wow. I thought you meant this specific shirt.
That black
t-shirt
just screams gay.
Gay dad.
But
okay,
but dad. I do. I walk into the daycare and I think how do I look like every other dad? And if I
Homogenize?
don't, homogenize, or should I lean into that? And so that is a chip on my shoulder for sure. I don't know if I get shamed for it, but there's definitely this weird aspect of like, why do gays have kids? How did you get your kid? That is always a little frustrating to me, that I feel defensive about. Unless somebody earnestly asks. I love when somebody walks up to me, they're like, so like, how did you guys become a family? Like, I love it, but like, I don't like the word like, how'd you get your kid? It's like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, well, a poorly attentive parent at a bus stop, and I just grabbed him and ran. Like, that's how else do gays get kids?
Hey, Lorien, back to you. Now, I don't want to make everybody think that you're a passive-aggressive person who hates her children. So how is parenting great also? Can you tell us?
No.
Hold.
No.
Hold.
Quiet.
I don't know.
Quiet.
I mean, it's really, there's a lot of personal work, right? Like when my daughter is 5, I'm remembering when I'm 5. There's a lot of things that I'm able to put into perspective about the parenting I received, about some of the stuff that I had not given my mom credit for, that I could give them credit for. And then a lot of stuff where I'm like, no, yeah, I'm right. I was totally validated. I mean, I love my daughter. She should absolutely be in the world. She is going to be a force to be reckoned with. She's all the things I love about a person and all the things that drive me crazy about a person. I don't know. It's so hard to articulate how it's great because I'm Jewish. Look, I focus on the negative. The more you complain, the longer God lets you live. I mean, come on. You don't let him know things are going well or he's going to give you more.
Lorien, you're going to live forever.
I'm going to live forever. I think my relationship with her is good. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what is good about parenting.
That's all right. We don't have
terrible. I love her. I would scratch your face off and, make you eat your own testicles if you said anything mean about her or tried to, yes, you would be eating your own testicles with no skin on your face. That's the picture I have of how
that's a
mad
complicated,
but we've got our teeth. We have teeth still.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to get off this podcast and be like, oh my God, there are so many wonderful things about being a parent. I think it's connecting with other parents and being able to tell the truth about how hard it is.
Nice.
And also being able to celebrate those little joys. Like my kid got a note home from the school from her teacher that was like, I like you because you're funny and smart and you're a great writer, which is actually a compliment about me. So I like that part.
I mean,
I like it. It feels good in karate. She's been in karate for about a year and she will, volunteer to be the person who models something. She just watching her become even more of who she is really cool. And to see that like we are who we are. It's just about like how certain things are framed for us at kids that help us become like healthy or not. And so that's really fun and inspiring to watch her. She's just always been who she is. And then it's my job to help her, not like you said, not be so traumatized that she's, has to go away for a while but traumatized just enough to keep her creative. Right?
Absolutely. So before we let you go, I want to say two great things. First one is, and I'm going to be very vague about this, is that the part of the reason this podcast exists is because of you, Lorien. Not just because you're responsible for my entire career, which is absolutely the truth.
You're welcome, everybody.
But Lorien created and invited me into a small private community, which I won't name or label or talk about where it exists, but it is a community of like-minded parents where we can say this kind of shit in a safe space where we all can laugh and cry, but also just be totally fucking honest about sometimes you'll see somebody say, I fucking hate my kid today. I hate them with all of my being. And everyone's like, we hear you, we love you. And it is exactly who I surround myself with parent-wise. You, Lorien, you, Gavin.
People who hate their kids?
People who hate their fucking kids. No, but people who chose to be parents but are able to be honest about the parts that suck too. Because I think it's very popular, especially at least in gay parenting world, to have these gorgeous high key Instagram accounts about how everyone is so beautiful and parenting is just such a luxury, and there's, everyone's wearing white and wading through a little creek and everything. And I'm like, no, I want to talk about the time I really wanted to throw my kid out the window. And so this community that you have created, I'm very excited to be a part of, and that's part of why this podcast exists. And then the last thing I want to end our interview on is,
but I have a story I have one more story to tell you.
Oh, please.
Tell us.
So my daughter and I and my husband were at Target the other day, Target at the Glendale Galleria.
As you do.
Don't get more suburban than that.
Fancy.
And for those of you not in California, that's not the Galleria from Valley Girl. Please don't pretend you don't know what that reference is, David, because I will throw you out the window. So we were there. She bought this jumpsuit she really wanted. So we went into the bathroom to try it on, and I was waiting for her to try it on. And this mom came in, like holding the door open for her son, who's probably like 11. And she was like, "Get in here. Go to the bathroom." And then he wouldn't. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm going to murder him." I'm like, "You're doing a good job. You're okay." I'm like, "Is it because it's the girls' bathroom?" She's like, "No, I take him in here all the time. He's going to piss his pants. That's what he's going to do. He's going to piss his pants. God damn it." And I was like, "You're doing a good job." So I felt so good about this connection I had with this mom in the bathroom. Like, I saw her. I validated her. I didn't judge her. Later, Brian tells me the story about how he's waiting for us outside the bathroom. And this mom comes out of the bathroom with her son, and she says, "We are going home. I'm not leaving you outside the bathroom with him standing here," pointing at my husband. Meaning like he was a creeper.
He was just waiting at the changing room just for the next victim.
So that's why she was so mad about getting him into the bathroom with her, not because he couldn't wait outside, because there was a creepy man and it was my husband.
So you were complimenting her on her skills at seeing a possible pedophile hanging outside.
She thinks my husband. Yes. So it was like, oh, that's like a good TV moment right there.
Yeah.
Like, that's a
yeah.
good, like, the button on the end of the scene is like,
it's all content.
So, of course, Brian's feelings were very hurt, but to be fair, he's like 6'4". He's got a great big head.
And he's got a very kind of stoic face, and he's very still. So
he doesn't smile a lot.
No, so it is off. It can be off-putting to a stranger that this tall man is just lurking outside the changing rooms. And I love that you validated the mom's feelings. Like, yeah, that creeper. Don't let that creeper in
not
here.
even him. Like, but that's basically why she was so intense about getting him. I didn't know any about that stuff.
That's amazing.
And the last thing I want to end on is speaking of TV, you were nominated for an Emmy.
What the hell?
I was, and I lost to Sesame Street, which is so awesome. And you lost
to Sesame Street, which is amazing.
So awesome. I was 2 Sesame Street shows were nominated in the same category, and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. And then one of them won, and I was like, it can't be better than that.
What an incredible, I mean, first of all, incredible for you professionally that you were nominated for your work.
But also incredible for you professionally because you're a writer on that same show.
I am a writer on that same show. But also you got to bring your daughter to the Emmys.
Yes, she had an amazing time.
Did she wear the jumper from Target?
No. That was just like last weekend. No, the Emmys were a while ago. She got to meet like one of the actresses from the Babysitters Club. She got to she played with the little girl who won for what's that TV show? Punky Brewster. They redid Punky Brewster, so that little girl won. So she got to play with her, and she was so excited to go to school the next day. And like, I went to the Emmys, and I met all these people. No one knew what the Emmys were, and no one believed her. So in terms of like social capital, but she had a blast. She loved it.
That's awesome. Thank you for demeaning yourself by being on our podcast. You are a big time podcaster.
I am going to go have to take a hot silkwood shower later.
Yes, but if you aren't already subscribed to the Screenwriting Life, please subscribe to her podcast where she talks much more eloquently than I do.
Oh, shut up! It's exactly this, just about writing.
That's
true. More
eloquently,
hardly. David has been on the podcast as a writer.
I was a guest on your podcast. I demeaned myself to be on your podcast, so thank you for demeaning yourself and being on Mars.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I love the idea of your show. I listened to some of it already, and I don't listen to podcasts, so there you go.
That's a big
deal. Honor for you guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for asking me questions about myself. I love to talk about myself. Let's hope my mom doesn't find this podcast. And parenting is awesome. I love it. I will think of 10 reasons why it's so great, and I will email it to you.
Got it. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so now it is time to end our episode with something great. So this week, my something great is, I think a lot of parents will understand, is my kid has started to get frustrated with things and start to, what he thinks is curse. And my kid, his new thing is like he's trying to say shut up to toys, to his sister. He sometimes tries it with us, but he says shut out. He's like, you shut out. And it makes me so fucking happy. I don't know why. That, or he'll say, ridiculous. He's like, you're being ridiculous, Dad. And he's so seething with rage. And all I could think of is, you fucking idiot. You can't even say the words right. And it just fills my heart with joy, because there's something so sweet to seeing such an angry toddler just completely misusing curse words. And so that's my something great this week.
I have a kid who's a little older, and he does know how to use curse words, for better or for worse. And recently, he still, with an impish grin on his face, will reach back to his preschool days and say, when we're having dinner or doing something that we have ketchup on the table, he says, hey, Dad, pass the cup shit, which is what he used to call ketchup. And I have to say, there are times that our approach to cussing is like, you know what? Time and place, dude. Time and place. Don't get in trouble for it, and don't make us look bad. Time and place. And so if my kid says pass the cup shit with that impish little grin, it's always something great.
That's funny.
And that's our show. If you have any comments, suggestions, or general compliments, you can email us at gatriarchspodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can DM us on Instagram. We are at gatriarchspodcast. On the internet, David is at David FM Vaughn everywhere, and Gavin is at Gavin Lodge on nothing.
Please leave us a glowing 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Gatriarchs.